start out kind of good afternoon, I guess, everybody. Thanks for attending today's session. Some of you know me, but if not, I'm James Walsted with Applied Tech, and I guess just a couple few notes about me. I have been in this industry for about a little over 30 years, with most of that time spent in the consulting industry, and 22 of those years with Applied Tech. I have a background in tech, but I have transitioned over the years to the director of sales and responsible for driving new business opportunities here. So again, I know we have several in the room today who are existing partners of Applied Tech, but those of you who are new, a little background on Applied Tech before we jump into today's session. We've been around for about 26 years, grown to about almost 150 employees, with our continued focus in the small and medium-sized businesses. We have offices throughout Wisconsin, Madison, Brookfield, and Wausau, and of course, I shouldn't say of course, but a large presence in the Denver market as well, and growing. But we do have customers throughout the United States, and supporting somewhere around 20,000-ish users on a day-to-day basis through our kind of either our fully managed or co-managed services. Outside of our managed services, which is, again, as I mentioned, the core of our business, we do have a dedicated project team, a dedicated security team, which also manages our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. And we also have value-added services like hardware, software, procurement, and vCISO consulting services. So let's get into it. Enough about myself and the company. Let's get into today's session. AI is on everybody's mind these days, right? We're all hearing it. We all see it. In today's session, Mastering Microsoft Copilot is going to be designed to show you exactly where Copilot, specifically as an AI tool, can create the most impact for you and your team, and then how to start using it for real, measurable results. We'll cover topics such as how to use AI with real business use cases for Copilot, prompting strategies that drive accurate results, and how Microsoft keeps AI secure and compliant, right? That's on everybody's mind these days. Security of my data out in that AI engine. We'll also talk about and review, I should say, an amazing framework developed by Ryan himself, which I'll introduce here in a minute, for writing high impact prompts that deliver relevant and useful outputs every time. And then we'll show you how Copilot integrates with the tools you're already using today on a day-to-day basis. Finally, we'll wrap up with today's session with a bonus raffle. One of our lucky attendees will win a iFlyTech AI Note Air 2. So we're excited about that. Before I introduce today's speaker, a couple housekeeping items. We do have the chat enabled. You can click that on the top of your screen. We'll have that ready to go. Feel free to put in questions into the chat. We will probably hold most of those questions till the end, and we'll have some time at the end of the session, for some Q&A, and I'll gather all those questions, and we'll try to get through all of them as best as we can. Our session again is set for about 60 minutes, and as I mentioned, we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the session to tackle some of those questions. So let's get started. We'll introduce today's speaker, Ryan Curtis. Ryan is our Applied Tech's Director of Business Analytics and Data Insights, and will be taking us through our webinar today. So Ryan has more than 15 years in the IT industry, starting out as an entry-level tech, working his way up to the ladder to the senior engineer, taking on director roles. So Ryan's time in the industry has provided, he's done a lot of, valuable insights from business process improvement, IT service delivery, strategy, operations. Today, though, Ryan has taken a leadership role within Applied Tech to drive business analytics, data insights with a strong focus and passion around artificial intelligence. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Ryan and to kick off today's session. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, James. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Curtis. At Applied Tech, I lead initiatives that transform how our teams work using data, robot process automation, and AI to drive business outcomes. My work centers on making data, AI, and automation technology practical, secure, and scalable for our organization. I developed the Prompt Primer framework to help our teammates create structured prompts to use AI more effectively. Most recently, my team is focused on using AI to triage and route support tickets to our service teams. By leveraging AI, we've been able to automatically analyze incoming requests and identify their urgency, category, and sentiment, then direct them to the right team, reducing response times and improving customer satisfaction. This project has helped streamline operations and free up our experts to focus more on solving problems and not sorting through queues. I also collaborate closely with our business leaders, operations, and technical teams to turn data, AI, and automation into business advantage. My goal is to empower the team at Applied Tech and our clients to work smarter, automate routine tasks, and unlock new opportunities with Microsoft Copilot and other AI tools. Today's session, Mastering Microsoft Copilot, is designed for business professionals like you. We'll explore how Copilot can help you leverage your Microsoft 365 data, automate tasks, and drive innovation into your daily work. Whether you're just starting with AI or looking to deepen your expertise, you'll leave with an understanding of the features of Copilot and real-world examples you can use right away. Let's clarify what Copilot is and how it works, especially with the addition of the Copilot chat app. Copilot is now available in two ways. First, it's seamlessly built into Microsoft 365 tools you already use, like Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams, and other apps. So you can access AI-powered assistance right where you're working. Second, there's a dedicated Copilot chat app available in the Windows Store. This app provides a focused chat experience that allows you to interact with Copilot outside of the traditional 365 apps. Copilot works by connecting three components. Microsoft Graph is a secure gateway that lets Copilot access your emails, documents, and meetings, and more with enterprise-grade security. Large language models are the advanced AI models that generate helpful responses, summaries, and suggestions based on your data and context. The orchestration layer ensures that only the right people see the right information. Security permissions, context are managed automatically. And here's the crucial point. Copilot does not train on your data. The content remains private and secure, and nothing you write is shared or used to improve the AI model.
Hey, Ryan. So here's a frequently asked question we get from clients and business owners. Can you explain how Microsoft 365 manages the security and permissions in Copilot?
Yeah, this question comes up a lot. So the way Microsoft 365 manages security is Copilot is a bolt-on product to the Microsoft apps. So it inherits the security that's already in place within your environment. So if you have certain secure SharePoint folders and you have an HR person that has access to them, yet the rest of the staff doesn't, only the HR staff's Copilot will be able to access that information. And anybody who doesn't have access to those folders will not have, their Copilot will not have access to that information. So it is very much user and context aware based on the security settings within your Microsoft tenant.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the difference between public AI tools and Copilot for 365, because understanding this is key. Public AI tools like ChatGPT or Bing search the public internet and use whatever you type in as the context. There are few boundaries, and your data is mixed with everyone else's, and there's no tenant isolation. Prompts may be logged for model improvement, and compliance is based on general AI safety policies. In contrast, Copilot is built for business. It only accesses your organization's data through Microsoft Graph. Copilot is tenant-bound, meaning your data is isolated in scope to your Microsoft 365 environment. Compliance is robust with support for Microsoft 365 policies, data loss prevention, and e-discovery. Privacy is a top priority. Prompts and responses stay within your tenant. While public AI tools are powerful, Copilot is designed for business. It keeps your data private, secure, and compliant so you can confidently use AI in your daily work.
Many people have security at the forefront of their minds when choosing which AI tool to use. Can you explain what the main risks of using public AI tools are compared to Copilot for a business purpose?
Yeah, another great question here. What really the big difference is that because of that tenant isolation, if I'm going to enter something into ChatGPT, for example, if I put any proprietary data, client data, it's very likely going to use any prompt I gave it with that data in it to retrain the model, which means if somebody else prompted ChatGPT for information, ChatGPT might grab any of that information that you entered and give it to them. So that's the main risk is really exposing client data through just prompting, where Copilot for Business doesn't allow that migration of data to retrain the model. It stays context aware in your tenant, but doesn't go any further than that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's shift gears and talk about how you can put Copilot to work for you today. Copilot is built right into the 365 apps, and here are some practical use cases. Sales teams can automatically summarize meetings. After a Teams call, Copilot can generate a summary of action items, decisions, and follow-ups. For example, you might use the prompt, summarize my last meeting with Applied Tech, and list the next steps. Operations teams can generate reports from raw data. Copilot in Excel can analyze trends, flag anomalies, and build charts. Try a prompt like, create a weekly ops report from this data and highlight anything unusual. Executives can prep for board meetings quickly. Copilot in Word or Outlook can pull key metrics, recent updates, risks from across your organization. Use a prompt like, draft a board update using the latest sales pipeline and customer churn data. The best part is these use cases are available today with no complex setup. This will help teams improve accuracy and focus on high-value tasks for your business. Let's take a closer look at some advanced scenarios where Copilot can deliver even greater value, but it does require a little more setup and oversight. First, automating workflows. For example, you can use Power Automate to trigger Copilot to summarize a Teams meeting, then automatically store the output in SharePoint. This kind of orchestration requires integration, API access, and clear governance. It's powerful, but not quite turnkey. Next, drafting client-facing content. Copilot can help you write proposals, emails, or reports, ensuring your communications are professional and on brand. Another advanced use case is surfacing risks from unstructured data. Copilot can scan meeting transcripts, emails, or notes for red flags, helping you spot compliance issues, customer churn signals, or operational risks. This is especially useful for teams focused on compliance or risk management. It's important to note that these advanced scenarios depend on the quality and context of your data. They still require human interpretation and oversight. Copilot is a powerful partner, but it's not a replacement for your expertise. As Copilot continues to evolve, expect these advanced capabilities to become more accessible and impactful. Next, we'll dive into the Copilot chat experience and see how you can interact with Copilot across the different apps. In the Copilot chat experience, you'll see Copilot chat in Teams, the 365 web UI, Copilot desktop app, Word, Excel, and more. This means you can get a consistent experience wherever you're working. These are the current available features in Copilot chat. At the top of the chat window, you'll notice two modes, work and web. Work mode prioritizes Microsoft 365 data, emails, files, and meetings, so your responses are tailored to your organization. Web mode taps into Bing search for broader general questions. After Copilot generates a response, you have several options. Regenerate the response for a new version, copy or insert the output into your document or email, edit in Microsoft Pages for collaboration, schedule prompts to run automatically, or open responses in Word for advanced editing. There's also a prompt gallery that provides pre-built prompts organized by app and role. These are great for discovering what Copilot can do and you can customize them to fit your workflow. Finally, Copilot saves your previous chats. You can revisit, rename, or delete them with this feature. It can be especially useful for ongoing projects and recurring tasks. No matter where you access Copilot Chat, you'll have these features at your fingertips, making your work faster, smarter, and more collaborative. Next, we'll explore Copilot's built-in tools to see how they can help you gather information, analyze data, and create professional visuals.
Hey, Ryan. Another question we commonly get is, how do you decide when to use work mode versus web mode in Copilot Chat?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in my workflow, the way I like to think about this is anytime I want to prioritize data within my Microsoft 365 tenant, for example, like looking up an SOP or referencing any documentation that we might have, I'm going to choose work mode because it prioritizes where your data over data on the internet. So the way it works is it'll go back and look at your Microsoft 365 tenant, any data there that's relevant, it'll try to pull, and then it will choose to fill in the gaps with stuff from the internet. And then web mode, I use that when I want to do the exact opposite. When I'm looking for an answer, something fresh and I don't want to use data within our tenant to formulate the answer, I'll just flip it to web mode.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So now that we've seen how Copilot Chat works, let's look at Copilot's built-in tools that change its behavior. Copilot currently includes 3 specialized tools: Researcher, Analyst, and Designer. The Researcher helps you quickly gather and summarize information from your organization's documents and trusted sources. Whether you're preparing a report or looking for supporting data, Researcher makes it easy to find answers. The Analyst is your go-to for interpreting numbers, spotting trends, and creating charts or summaries from your business data. It simplifies the analysis, making insights actionable and easy to share. The Designer assists you with creating presentations, visuals, and layouts. This will help your ideas to look more polished or professional. We've just covered a lot of information about Copilot's capabilities and features, but sometimes the best way to understand what's possible is to see it in action. But before we get into the demo, let's talk quickly about something foundational to getting great results with AI. I developed a prompt primer framework to help our teams and you get the repeatable success with generative AI. Think of it as a blueprint for crafting prompts to deliver clear, actionable, business-ready outputs. At its core, the framework is built around 4 essential components: role, task, audience, and output. The framework includes optional enhancements to make your prompts even more effective: clarity, recommendations, interview me, and additional instructions. By using this framework, we empower Copilot and any generative AI to deliver results that are reliable. It's about operational impact and making AI a reliable partner in your daily work. As we demo, keep these components in mind, and remember, the more structure and context you provide, the better the outcomes will be. So let's switch gears and dive into the demo of Copilot Chat experience, and you'll see firsthand how these tools come together to make your work easier.
While we're switching into demo mode, to help the audience get the absolute most out of their experience with their prompts, can you tell us, in your experience, which optional enhancements from your framework have you found to be the most useful when writing your prompts?
Yeah, I use, of course, the 4 core components in every prompt I get, but the one that I use the most is clarity. So at the end of my prompt, I always ask generative AI to ask questions if it needs more information. It's really powerful because what it often does is it asks you questions you haven't even thought about yet. And when especially when you've given it clear instructions about the output you want, it will start tailoring those questions back to make sure it's generating the output you're looking for.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. So introducing Noah here. Noah works on my team. He's actually going to be doing the demo today, and he works as a developer. He helps me develop some of the stuff we talked about earlier in the presentation. So Noah, go ahead and take it here with why don't you do a quick intro?
Sure. Thank you, Ryan. So Ryan said I'm a developer with Applied Tech, although I've been with Applied Tech for 5 years now. In a few different roles. I was a service desk technician first. I've actually worked with a lot of you. I recognize quite a few names in here today. And yeah, right around June last year, I switched to developer. And in doing so, I learned Ryan's prompt primer framework and have gotten very familiar with Copilot. I use it almost every day. So I'm going to show you guys those features we discussed, how to use Copilot both in this app here and then some of the native Microsoft apps. So what I have up is the Copilot Windows app that Ryan mentioned earlier. I just want to note you can also get to this by going straight to office.com, and it should be pretty much the exact same interface. Now I'm just going to go over some features on here quick before we start prompting. Up at the top, you can see this work to web switcher. That's what Ryan was talking about as far as what data source is going to prioritize first. I also wanted to point out in the top right here, under the 3 dots, we have this option to actually turn off web search completely when you're on the work section. So if you didn't want to use the web at all, you wanted just to look through your organization's files and information, you would just flip this button. And now you see this disclaimer in the middle of the page. Some other important features. On the left here, you can see where you can actually reference past conversations. And this goes back pretty far. So you can even go back weeks into an old prompt you had and start up your conversation again, pick up right where you left off. Alternatively, this button at the top right, the start a new chat, is how you start from scratch. On the left here, continued, you can see those different agents Ryan mentioned earlier, which kind of gives you a more tailored experience for when you're prompting. A researcher, of course, is going to give you more research-oriented results, results from the web or from data sources. Then I just really quick want to go over the actual prompts menu here. So you can see there's the dictation button, so you can actually speak your prompt if that's something that interests you, if you're not a typer. You can also add different work contents. So like we talked about, Copilot is going to scan and locate different content for you to include, but you can actually give it a specific source if it's relevant. So you can upload your own Excel file. The keyboard shortcut for that is just this slash right here. So once you add the slash, then you can start actually pulling different, users, different files that are relevant to your prompts. So all that said, let's actually see the demo here. The demo we picked out for just this chat feature is going to be building an SOP, something we all probably do in our roles. This is going to be specifically an SOP for a user onboarding. So this was created with Ryan's prompt primer framework. I gave it the audience. I gave it the desired output. And I gave it specific instructions to interview me, ask me one question at a time to kind of have a back and forth with Copilot and get the exact answer we want. So when I send that, you can see it's starting the interview process. So what is the primary goal? So you can see it gave us some options that it can probably assume, understand company culture, set up tools and access, compliance, and honestly, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So I'm going to actually use its recommendation down here. You can see it auto-filled it. Click it and send it. And so it's going to continue this interview process until basically it has enough context to generate the full kind of an outline of the SOP. I'm going to speed this up for the sake of time and just throw in the missing context it probably needs. So I added roles. I added what task it's doing, both on the first day and then throughout the 30 days. And with all that, it actually was able to generate kind of a basic version. So you can see here, it created a scope and it actually took those 2 roles we broke down and made different role assignments. It broke down the necessary tasks by day. Now, this is still a little bit too general for me. I think there's too much information missing. For example, we asked it to include information about IT setup, I believe, or IT access setup, and I don't really see that explicitly mentioned yet, besides IT if applicable. So let's see if we can get more specific there. I'm going to use that slash feature and say, here is a platform list. So all of the platforms that an employee might need. And I'm going to ask Copilot, please use this as a reference for pre-day one IT setup activities. Now let's see if we get kind of a better result. Okay, so it got to that file and pulled out all the relevant platforms. Now I'm going to say, please integrate this list into the full outline. I think Copilot might be fighting me a little bit on this last one. For all systems. So I'll actually just say, actually, add a separate section for platform lists. And you can see I type really fast and I made a typo. I don't think Copilot will care. It actually can recognize this. Okay. So here it actually took that platform listing and broke it down into the different categories that they're all relevant to. So I could go back and forth with Copilot for a lot longer. This is getting pretty close to my desired result. So what I will do is say, please export this as a .docx, which is a Microsoft Word file. And what it does is it is going to take all of this information, structure it with headings, with bullets, whatever it needs, and then ultimately give me a link to download, and then I can pick up from there. And I guess I just want to point out what's important is you can tell this isn't really a final product, in my opinion. It's just meant to be kind of getting the first steps done, getting the template ready for me, getting kind of the basic outline there. So now me with all my nuance about what is actually required that isn't available on the web or in our files, I can now add that information in here. So here's the result it gave me. And I think that we'll come back to this later and maybe restructure it some more in the Word section. But I think right now we'll leave this as the chat demo. Back to you, Ryan.
Perfect. Thanks, Noah. Awesome. Yeah, I have a feeling we'll be seeing that document a little bit later here.
Great job. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah. So let's move on to now that we've seen the Copilot chat experience, let's look at Copilot in Outlook. Copilot is integrated right into the Outlook ribbon, so you can access its features without leaving your inbox. Here's what you can do from the Outlook ribbon. You can use the chat feature with all the chat functionality you just saw. The reply feature lets you draft quick, relevant responses, saving you time and ensuring your replies are on point. With Summarize, you can instantly get a summary of long email threads or conversations, making it easier to catch up and respond efficiently. The Settings option allows you to adjust Copilot's preference to fit your workflow, so you can get the most out of that tool. Let's take a closer look at how Copilot enhances your email drafting experience in Outlook. First note is to say we still have access to the prompt gallery, a collection of pre-built prompts designed for common Outlook tasks. But let's take a deeper look at the drafting feature Copilot provides. When you're composing or reviewing emails, Copilot can generate a first draft based on your instructions or the context of the email. If you're not satisfied, you can instantly retry for a new version. Need to adjust the length? You can make your message shorter for clarity or longer for more detail. Style matters too, so you can change the tone of your message to be more formal, friendly, direct, depending on your audience. If you like what Copilot suggests, you can keep it as is or discard it and start over. There's also an auto rewrite feature that lets Copilot improve your draft automatically and you can replace your current text with Copilot suggestions or insert it below for easy comparison. All these features are designed to help you manage your email more efficiently, improve the quality of your communication. With Copilot, you're not just writing emails, you're working smarter. Let's switch over to a live demo so you can experience firsthand how Copilot transforms your Outlook workflow. Watch as we put these features into action and see and you can see how much time and effort they save.
Hey, Ryan, Another common question that we get is, how do you decide when to make it shorter or change the tone in an email draft?
Yeah, good question. So one of the way I use it, and I is really this: is I know that, for example, when I send an email to Noah, Noah has a communication style where he likes to elaborate and be very specific about what he says, and there's a lot of detail in his communication. And then I have a teammate that is the polar opposite. They just want bullet points, as concise and clear as you can. So in Noah's case, I might make it longer to add a little more detail to express a complex, some complexity to what I'm saying. Where with the other coworker I have, they're just going to get bullet points, And I would also say it helps me cater my style to whoever I'm writing to style. So when I write in bullet points, but not everybody likes that. And you come to understand that, and I use Copilot. Sometimes I'll write my bullet points, and if I'm trying to convey a complex message, I'll have Copilot rewrite it for me in the format that I need.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
it's a great example.
All right.
So let's jump into the Outlook demo. Go ahead, Noah.
Thank you. So I'll go over those specific features we just discussed in Outlook and maybe a few additional. So Copilot in here, you can kind of find it scattered throughout. I can find it 3 places right now. On the left-hand ribbon here, you can pull up the Copilot window. There's a summary by Copilot option each time you're clicked into an email. And then up at the top right here is also the main area you'll probably be going to. So in this top right part, if I drop down this caret, you can see you have the option of chatting, which chat is actually just the exact interface that I just showed you from the app. You can do the same thing here. Alternatively, you can use those other drop-down options, which are a little bit more specific to Outlook. And I'm going to show you both of them right now. So first and foremost, replying, we click that. If we're already clicked onto an email, it'll open a new draft of that email and start the reply process. Let me start that again. It's kind of bugging. There we go. That's what I wanted, was the full email. And so you can see here, it's starting the reply and it's giving me some prompt options. So the top 3 here are actually relevant to the context of the email. So this email, I guess so everybody knows, was just a vendor I work with asking, are we still on for next Wednesday because it's the day before Thanksgiving? And what topics should we talk about? So you can see it gave me some really quick options. Like if I just wanted to answer her in 5 seconds, I would just probably click no topics, send. But let's see if we can structure this response to be what Jen wants. So I don't actually have to use any of these options. I can type in my own reply desire, and I'm going to say, let Jen know that Wednesday works, and that we need to discuss Microsoft Graph. So 2 different things, and let's see if Copilot kind of puts them together in line or makes them bullets. So you can see I gave it just two brief statements, and it kind of expanded on it to more align with, I guess, something Jen can run with. So what we're looking to basically expand our capabilities. Now, to Ryan's point, this might not be exactly what Jen's looking for. I know she's kind of like me. She likes a little bit more detail so she can go into the call prepared. So I'm going to say make it longer. And by clicking that, it's going to rewrite what was already there. And I actually have the option of toggling back and forth between this new setting and what was there originally. So now you can see it took the Microsoft Graph, prompt, and basically outlines 3 important points about implementing Graph, which is, how can it even be used? What are the permission requirements? And what opportunities can we identify? So this is perfect.
And Noah, correct me if I'm wrong. Those bullet points are not in this current email thread, but they are things that were talked about in other threads, correct?
Yes, exactly. So what Copilot did here is it probably went and looked at my previous conversations with Jen and just our conversations about graph in general. You can see there's one more right above this, and identified what we need to know. So that was really helpful. Saved me from having to comb through my old emails to figure that out. And I could even revise this more, like if I said, can you expand more on bullet 3, you know, or can you change the tone to be more direct? Like maybe this is too wordy. Ultimately, if I'm happy with what I have, though, I just click keep it, and it'll draft it here, and then I would just hit send. Deep in thought here. For the sake of time, I'm just going to jump over, though, to our summary option. So similarly, you can summarize any email like this. Now, this is a really long email thread that I get this a lot, and I'm sure all of you do too. Like, you just get added, hey, can you review this? And it's like a small novel. What I like about summary is I can basically have it list line by line what is each thing that happened along the way. I can kind of get the bottom line up front. Instead of flagging it for a week or two or whenever I get to it, now I can actually action something right away if it's important, or I can flag it and kind of have a faster follow-up. So yeah, that's the summary feature. That's the reply feature. And really the only other tool I would highlight is the settings. You can actually specify those prompt details that we discussed for every email. So I could say, use a direct tone for each email, or use this specific greeting. You can add those in your Outlook settings. So that highlights everything Outlook related. Ryan, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. Awesome. I use those features all the time. I would use them quite often every morning. It helps me manage my email a lot better. So let's continue back and take a look at Word and Excel. So let's see how Copilot enhances your experience with Word and Excel. In Word, Copilot is context aware of your document content. You can ask questions about your document, get summaries, suggestions, or writing help that's tailored to the content you're working on. After Copilot generates your response, you have a range of options. You can regenerate, copy, insert, edit in pages, change the tone, make it shorter or longer, replace your current text, or insert below. And we've just gone over many of those features. They work just the same as what you saw in the previous demos. In Excel, Copilot helps you analyze your spreadsheets. You can interact with Copilot to ask questions about your data and get insights or summaries. Copilot's app skills can include spotting trends and patterns, building charts and visualizations, summarizing key findings, flagging anomalies or outliers, generating formulas, or just automating repetitive tasks. Both Word and Excel feature the prompt gallery, which has pre-built prompts for common tasks for each of those apps. Copilot can make document creation and data analysis become faster, smarter, and smarter. So let's jump into a quick demo, and we'll show you how Copilot can transform the way you work in documents and spreadsheets.
All right, it's me again. And now I'm discussing Word. So we're right back where we left off in demo 1 with this SOP. Now, Copilot never really gave me what I wanted, if you guys caught that. Right at the end of the demo, I was looking for a list of platforms. And although it incorporated it the first time, it looks like it mostly stripped it from the export. So what I can do is, now that I've exported out of the chat and now I have this in a document, I can give it those additional instructions. So Copilot, just like we saw in Outlook, it's up here in the top right. You can click this and it'll open up the chat window, just like we're familiar with. But what's more useful here in Word, as Ryan alluded to, is the inline access. And that's what this pen, this rewrite button that you see in each section is asking. So what I'll do is, under this pre-day, this IT section, I'm just going to highlight the very specific part that I want edited. And I could hit that pen button, or I could just hit it right above the fields. Copilot. And now, just like we saw in Outlook, it's giving us a bunch of inline options. And I'm going to ask it again. Can you please break down a list of, I'm actually going to say a table of platforms to use based on our AT platform list. And so didn't like that. So let's give it something a little bit more simple since I couldn't directly point to that platform list. And so can you break down a list of platforms based on MSP department? And so, not a fan.
Oh,
Funds of demos.
Let's
pop it out in the chat here.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe that would be better than the inline. So now, since I'm in the chat, I can actually reference that specific platform list. So I'm going to say the platform list. Can you please generate a table I can paste into the pre-day one section for these platforms? And so, you know, Copilot, we're not here to tell you that Copilot's perfect. Sometimes it's a little bit of this back and forth. And so you can see that didn't quite like the inline prompts. So I had to basically expand out. And now it actually gave me the table I'm looking for. I'm going to see if I can just straight copy and paste this. Okay. Didn't like it, but what I can do is I can maybe highlight this and say, can you make this table? There, finally we got it. So this is what I wanted. So you can see the back and forth, but ultimately this did save me time. I mean, the alternative was I create the table, I add each item, and I would have probably had to go out and actually pull up the reference to integrate it here. So with just 3 prompts, I was able to get pretty much what I wanted.
So how much time do you think you just spent like creating this document from prompt to here? 7-8 minutes maybe?
Cumulatively, yeah, between this demo and the last, probably about that.
And so, you know, think. I always like to bring this up. Think about what it would take you to generate this document or a document like this without the use of Copilot. You know, Noah, what would you guess? You've actually written some of these from scratch. To get to this point, how long do you think it would have taken?
This part would have probably taken me at least, like, I would say at least 30 minutes, probably longer. I mean, there's a lot of content here that like I identify it as fluff, but it's essential, like the format, the bullets, the sectioning, that all would have had to kind of been conceptualized first. So I think it definitely saved me a lot of time.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the point of Copilot is it's going to get you 90% there, and then you're going to have to use your expertise and knowledge to round out the document, proofread it, but it's going to take a lot of that front end work off your plate.
Exactly. So I'll wrap up this one here so we can quick go into Excel. You know, I could just hit replace, and what it would do is it replaced that highlighted section for me. Just made things a little faster. So now here in Excel, I just have, this is all dummy data. This is not for any particular company. Just a basic P&L report here. And just like in Word, Copilot's up in the top right here. And you can chat it just like we did for some more advanced prompting. Or you can use this app skills feature that Ryan, you highlighted. And this is specific prompts that are for reading or analyzing data in Excel. So you can see here, create formulas, apply conditional formatting, which is so helpful if you're not a fan of that, like me. Or I'm going to use the advanced analysis button. And this is really interesting because it's using Python scripts that is now running against our data to try to make some advanced insights or just general insights that we can kind of build off of or send additional prompts. So let me expand this out. So you can see that I just asked for, I didn't really even give it any details. I just said, give me advanced insights. And from that, it was able to generate a graph comparing our EBITDA to our net profit. And it even down at the bottom here, identified in some months, net profit even goes negative when EBITDA stays positive, showing that non-operating expenses have a strong impact. So without any really context, and I'm not in finance, so I didn't know how to read this table. I actually can leave this now with raw data, but yet understands some advanced analysis. And you can see the options it gives me below to kind of expand even further if I choose to. But I think that concludes with what I want to show in Excel, Ryan. So back to you.
Perfect.
Great job.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
And just
Noah.
so y'all know, everybody will receive the link to this. It is being recorded and y'all will receive the link to it after the webinar. So I know Noah is an expert at this and he's going very fast through all of the demos. So you will receive the link so you can go back through it and kind of watch everything a little bit slower if you are not able to keep up with him the first time. Just an FYI.
Perfect. Thanks, Danielle. Yeah, good call out.
Yeah, no problem.
So after seeing all those demos, what are we looking ahead for? It's important to remember that Copilot and AI in general are powerful tools, but it's not infallible. Always verify important facts, especially when it comes to legal, financial, or client-facing work. Copilot can help you work faster and smarter, but human judgment still remains essential. The quality of your results depends on the clarity of your prompts. Clear, specific instructions get the best outcomes. Vague requests lead to vague answers. While Copilot can automate many tasks, it won't flag compliance risks or know your company's unique policies, so your expertise is still critical. AI is evolving rapidly. We're moving from simple prompts to multi-step tasks that incorporate memory and context. Automation is speeding up business processes and freeing up people to focus on higher value work. You can expect even deeper integrations with tools like Copilot Studio or Power Automate in the near future. This evolution means that workflows and roles are changing. Upskilling is key. Prompt writing, data interpretation, and AI oversight are now core business skills. In fact, personal use of AI is shaping expectations at work, making prompting a business skill for everyone. The main takeaway here is embrace experimentation. Keep learning. Use AI as a partner, not a replacement for your expertise. The future of work is collaborative, and AI is here to help you unlock new possibilities.
With AI becoming so prevalent in the workplace, what skills do you think business professionals should focus on to stay ahead?
I think the number one skill is really finding a prompting framework that works for you. Everything else, all of your results are really predicated on that. If you can dial in your prompting and you can reliably get consistent results with your prompts, you're a step ahead in the business market, because all of those future automation and agentic AI things that are coming are all start with the data you give it and the prompt you give it. And if those two things are solid, you're going to get good results and be ahead of your competitors in the AI market.
Love it. Thanks, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to share some resources here. We're going to drop these into chat, but these are specific. The first one here is all training around Microsoft, and it's filtered down. That specific link is filtered to all the Copilot training. And then there's a link in here that we're going to drop into chat. This is where I would start. If you're going to do any Copilot training, start with that module there, the second list in the list there. With that, that kind of wraps up the presentation point. We can switch into QA mode.
Yeah, Ryan, we got a few questions that kind of streamed in.
Sure.
Start with the top here. From John, why does Copilot offer the use of ChatGPT within the program?
Well, the back end of Copilot is the same AI model as ChatGPT. Microsoft and OpenAI came to an agreement where Microsoft is using ChatGPT, the OpenAI models, as the backend for Copilot. So you're going to see very similar feature sets between the two. Did that answer the question?
I'm not gonna speak for John, but I hope so. We'll and John certainly post a follow up if you got another question. But Lizzie asked, will Copilot for work retrain its language and knowledge base for other users within your organization based upon the information you feed it?
That's a great question. And let me frame this a little bit, because yes and no. The no is not in the traditional way you think of it. The yes is, as the context, the information that user has access to evolves and changes, Copilot will learn because of the information it has access to. Is it actively, as when we say learning in the AI world, machine learning, it's not doing that. But what it is doing is really a scoped to the information you have. It will learn or give you responses based on that data. So as your like SOP or financial data or evolves, the more data it has access to, the more the prompting will evolve. The information you get back, the output will evolve.
Okay. Thank you. I think a follow-up to John's first question, more concern around with ChatGPT, is that it learns a little bit differently, right? It has a little bit more risk if you're just using ChatGPT out online. What is the risk of using ChatGPT within the Microsoft Copilot realm?
So it's isolated. So really, the whole point of using Copilot versus ChatGPT, among many things, but from a security standpoint, is that nothing that you're going to type in that prompts window you're going to share with Copilot is going anywhere but inside your tenant, inside your Microsoft 365 environment. So if I were to take my financial data and use Copilot within our 365 tenant, that financial data is going to stay within the tenant. Now,
and regardless of using ChatGPT within Copilot, it's still using just within my tenant, right? It's not going outside like the public version of ChatGPT. Okay.
Correct. That is correct. Okay. So, good rule of thumb is if you're paying for it, there's a higher level of security around your data. Whether it's Copilot, the paid version of ChatGPT, any other paid versions out there, if it's free, you're basically you've signed away the idea that your data is private.
Yep, fair. The next question from John as well is if you have a license of Copilot Full, what interface should be used to fully take advantage of all of its capabilities? And kind of a two-part to this is, should you avoid the Edge Copilot feature? Does it conflict between the free and the full versions? John kind of mentioned he ran into some hiccups and losing some of his questions and his history in the past. So, if you use Copilot as an app, does that reduce the chance of loss, I guess?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And there are two versions of Copilot. There is a free version of Copilot. If you have a Copilot license, within the apps, your Microsoft Word, everything that's attached to your Microsoft 365 account, you'll see Copilot pop up like you saw Noah in the demos. It'll be in all those windows. You're using your Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, when we're talking about the chat app, if we're talking about the chat app in the Windows Store, the icon for the Copilot app has M365 across the bottom. And so if that Copilot icon doesn't have that, you're using the public version of Copilot. So make sure that you're using that Microsoft 365 app. And going back to, will it save your data? Yeah, absolutely will. There was a time where Microsoft is only keeping about 30 days of chats. It looks like they've removed that capability, because I can go back to February if I wanted to with my chat history.
Okay. Another question actually from John is in Outlook, having Copilot set to on, he's ran into some issues with it not allowing him to insert his signature. The signature feature comes back when he turns Copilot off in Outlook, but he has to toggle it back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't seen that yet, but only because when we use it, we have our signatures being inserted by policy. So we never include a signature in our responses, so it works. That might be something to explore, but I haven't seen it where it strips the signature, so I'd have to look into that.
Okay. I got to ask this question, even though it was kind of addressed, and it made me laugh because when Noah put the prompt in, it made me raise the same question. But just for kicks, I'm going to ask it: does using the please make a difference, or is that just a Midwest nice thing? And I love the question.
So
because I always say please and thank you to my Copilot.
So it's a great debate out there. It's the great debate in AI right now. So the short answer is, please does have an effect on your output, and
Wow.
it's kind of a way that the Copilot or any generative AI has learned. They've learned, generative AI has learned on the basically all the communication in the internet. So it communicates very well with using just natural communication, as you've seen. It's also really good at mirroring you. So if you're very abrupt, concise, it's going to mirror that back to you. If you start using please, you're going to get a politer tone. That said, if please really doesn't matter in your context, you don't have to use it. But if you want something that's like a nice, polite email, using please will actually help adjust the tone.
Okay.
Now let me just throw out. I did not. That was not a conscious choice. That was me being Midwestern nice. So I'm not advocating for the use of please.
A couple more questions kind of trickling in here in the last couple minutes. The first one is, can you remove the public Copilot prompt from Microsoft Office users to avoid them using it?
I will have to get back to you on that. Can we? I will definitely find the answer. The answer is, I'm sure yes, but I don't want to make that confirmation without looking at it.
Yeah, right. And it would have to be a kind of a policy-wide thing that you can set at the top level. So okay. Yeah. From Valerie, how can you tell if you have the public Copilot license or not?
Okay, great question. If you have the public Copilot license, as soon as you log into your Microsoft 365 account with your account that has a paid Copilot license, all of your apps will change to using that. Okay. If you're wondering if you have it or not, that would be something we can help with, or your IT can help with, looking at that assignment. But if you know you don't have Copilot in your instance, any of those icons are going to be the free version.
All right. Well, we are being conscious of everybody's time. We are at the top of the hour. We do have one more question in that we'll follow back up with you on. But just thank you, everybody, for attending. In the email link tomorrow that we'll be sending over the recording, we will be announcing the winner of the raffle within that email. So stay tuned and be on the lookout for that. But again, thank you, everybody, for attending. Hopefully you got some good value and a few nuggets you can walk away and use today. And have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.